Hi guys, welcome to episode 5, Digging with Dave. And this episode we're going to talk about greasing the machines. As operators, it is our job to grease machines daily or whatever it says in the operator's manual. It shows us all where the greasing points on the machine, how often it needs greasing, and also it's telling you what grease we need. So, what is greasing? Any moving part on the excavator will require lubrication, i.e. grease. So, got a little example for you. Here we've got a standard pin, and these are the bushes. Inside the pin, if you can look here, there's a grease nipple. So we put our grease gun on there, and it fires the grease through inside the grooves in the bushes, and the movement is lubricated so we're not wearing out pins and bushes. Now, pins and bushes are designed to be replaced, but they are very expensive to do. Now, if we grease correctly and regularly, we will not need to be changing pins and bushes so often. So greasing is so important. Okay, so let's have a little talk about grease guns and grease cartridges. So, standard grease gun with a fixed tube. If all the grease nipples are nice and easy to get at, you can put pressure on the grease nipple and give it some hammer. Nice basic grease gun. Next example is the same grease gun again, but it's got a flexi tube on. Great for if it's in a tight, awkward place. That's the tool for the job. This come with one of my new Takeuchi machines, and I thought, what a waste of time. They've sent you a grease gun with no grease gun end. But actually, if you zoom in, you just put that straight onto the grease nipple. There's no big end on, and it works brilliant. Nice piece of kit. Then we jump onto a different style of grease gun altogether here. For those grease guns I've just showed you there, they are a 400 gram standard tube, okay? Now this grease gun here, this has the 500 gram tubes. Unfortunately I haven't got one, but they're a bigger tube and they've got a thread on. You fire them up through the hole and it screws on to here and away you go. This is another grease gun end. This is a great piece of kit. You press down and it goes on the grease nipple and clamps it, and then you can give it some, and it doesn't squirt grease out. Okay, that's called a G coupler. Fantastic tool. We talked about the round grease nipples earlier. This is the piece of kit for them. So you take your grease gun end off, screw the pipe on. It's a round disc and this slots on. Very rare you see these nowadays. So if you've got a machine with round grease nipples, that's what you need. Now then, this is a fantastic little piece of kit. So if we've got a real hard, tight, awkward place, grease nipple on there, grease gun end onto the grease nipple, then we can use this here, straight on it goes. So we're basically using it as a 90 degree. How handy is that? Great piece of kit. All them grease guns, they work fine, but they do airlock and they can be a nightmare, and then it discourages you in greasing completely. So I invested in one of these. Saviour of greasing. It's an 18 volt Milwaukee grease gun. DeWalt do them, Makita do them. Nice long tube on. New end, exact same style, 400 gram grease cartridges go in here. It's got a battery on there. Oh, how easy is that? No hand pumping. This is what I'm going to demonstrate on site using. We'll take them all with us, but this is the piece of kit I use day in, day out. Few other bits and pieces we're greasing. Keep plenty of rag. When we're greasing, we can clean it up. You've got the white rag in your bag. Gloves. These are great, fantastic. Why get yourself all messed up in grease? These are a waterproof glove, which are good for greasing, because at the end of it, you can just get your gloves covered in grease, give them a wipe off, you can use the gloves again. And then just the final piece of advice I've got for you guys is WD-40. Okay, so if you've got grease on your machine where it's spilled, a bit of WD-40 wipes off, lovely. You can buy it in bulk, and all you have to do is to put it into a squirty bottle and away you go. I learnt this only the other day. Hammer grease. So for your breakers, hydraulic breakers, it's a special grease. Like you say, operator's manual will tell you all this information. Okay, listen, let's get out on site. We will take with us our overalls so that we're not getting all our gear all dirty, and we will take the grease guns. Let's go on site, grease a machine. So we're on site, we're going to grease this machine. So first thing to think about, when you're greasing your machine, always park it somewhere that's clean as you can, if you can get it nice and clean for walking round, and somewhere where it's out the way. So if it's out the way, you're not going to have people moving you, disrupting you when you're greasing, having to get on the machine and your dirties and your greasy gear. Okay, so let's get a cartridge inside the grease gun. Let me show you how to do it. So we've got to pull the plunger back. Sometimes use the machine to help you if it's a bit hard. There we go, that's all the way back. Got to be all the way back. Okay, undo. Put it somewhere nice and clean, out of the way. So, grease cartridge now. End off into the tube. Sometimes these can be a little bit oversized and a nightmare. So in we go. Now the top, it's a ring pull. 9 times out of 10 they just peel off and you have to get your screwdriver to gouge it out. But this one is one I did earlier. In we back go into the grease gun. Okay, so screw it up all the way nice and tight. What I always do, I don't know why, but I seem to always do it. Give it 3 of them. Okay, then give it a pump and look, we're all good to go. We've got grease coming out the end. That's a new cartridge in there, and this one cartridge should easily do this machine. So let's go and grease the machine now at the business end. So as you can see here, we've got a grease nipple here on the bucket ram, and there is contamination in there. So what I always like to do, carry a little screwdriver with you and just clean any rubbish, any contamination off so that the grease nipple's there. And you can see it now, look, you can see the grease nipple. Okay, plenty of rag with this process, always handy. Okay, so with the grease gun, on we go, onto the grease nipple, make sure it's on and pump away. Now we don't want it oozing out of here. So if you just have a look, soon as you can see it come out, or just start seeing signs of it coming out, that to me is greased enough. I don't mind seeing a bit of grease squeezing out of a pin, because you know it's being greased. But too much, it just makes a mess, it attracts contamination, it's vile. Now I'm going to get the electric grease gun and we'll just grease this pin here, we'll show you that one. Okay, here she is guys, the electric grease gun. What a fantastic piece of kit. Okay, so basically nice long hose, on we go with the grease gun, and we're on, and just press the trigger. It's as easy as that. Signs of the grease coming out, look, and that is greased and done. What I like to do is when you take off a nipple, off a grease nipple, we just wipe the end so it's clean, and just quickly, just give it a wipe off, and away we go. Now see the grease that's, the old grease here that's on the arm and a bit here? That's where your WD-40 will come in. Little spray, give it a wipe. It soon comes off. Okay, so that is basic greasing. Make sure that you grease all the machine, clean it up, contamination free, and that's it. We're operators, we need to do greasing. It's our responsibility. Okay, so I've taken the overalls off, the grease gun's away, all cleaned off, and the machine is ready for action. So thanks very much for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to give us a like, a follow and a share on the social media channels, Digging with Dave, and I'll see you on the next one.